Welcome to everybody. I'm Claudia Meadows. I'm on the Echo Lake Neighborhood Association board, and I'm very excited to be hosting this meeting tonight. Um, it's time to get this meeting started, even though there aren't too many of us. First, I'd like to talk for a minute. I'd like to tell what our mission statement is. Why do we have this Echo Lake Neighborhood Association? And that is the mission is to build community by providing a forum for sharing information, connecting neighbors, promoting activities, fostering civic involvement in our diverse community. And very fittingly, in 1996, the first Echo Lake meeting was held at Echo Lake Elementary Gymnasium and was attended by 77 people. So it's time for us to gather some more community members to join our meetings. So let's do introductions. And then we'll have a couple reports. Anne, would you like to go first and tell us, actually, Gidget, being a very special person in Echo Lake Elementary community, will you introduce yourself first and tell us what relationship you have or had to Echo Lake School?
Thank you. I'm Gidget Terpstra, and I had to kind of look up some records, but I joined the Echo Lake PTA in 1979. So that's like 45 years ago. So I'm really an old timer, and became very active in the PTA there, was co-president for a couple years. And in the second year, Echo Lake PTA was named one of the top 10 PTAs in the state of Washington.
Right
So
on.
that was quite an honor. And I remained active in PTAs as our kids grew up through the schools until 1994, when the school district hired me as one of the first family advocates in the district. So I've been here in Shoreline for a long time. Before our kids grew up.
Excellent. Thank you, Gidget. And Travis, that makes me want to have you go next. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Well, I'm Travis Fulham. I am one of the co-presidents at the Echo Lake Elementary PTA. So it's nice to be on here and say hello to everyone.
Good. Anne, how about if you go next? Do you have any relationship to Echo Lake at this time? Echo Lake PTA or Echo Lake School?
Not really. I know Val Wishier, is that? I'm never sure if I'm saying her name right. So I've just, met with her in the past when she was first taking on the Green Thumb group.
Okay.
So, and I lead Friends of Echo Lake. So we're a group of about 80 families and residents in the neighborhood and greater area who work to support the lake and advocate for the health of the lake.
Okay.
Yes, wait on that.
Yeah, wait on that.
The rest is a mystery.
Yeah, I want you to give your project report in a few minutes. Diane, how about if you go next?
Okay, well, I became part of the Echo Lake family when the school district changed all of the attendance boundaries. I had been at North City for like 6 years, And suddenly, for the sixth grade, because the sixth grade was still in elementaries then, we were at Echo Lake. So it was a very, very difficult time for everyone because Echo Lake, in order to, the three big schools were all across the northern boundary of the district, Syrie, North City, and Lake Forest Park. So they all had to lose population. But in order for them to move, they had to displace other people. And it affected every school in the district. And there were a couple of PTAs that almost went underwater at that time because the people that were running it, that were the active ones, all went to a different school. So we moved in, and well, Echo Lake had lost a third of its population in the changing boundaries, and those kids all went to the brand new Meridian Park Elementary, and then North City kids ended up at North City, Brookside, Meridian Park, and Echo Lake. So they were scattered everywhere. We took over the school board at one point, but that's a different thing altogether. So our group went to Echo Lake, and when we moved in, I was telling Claudia, my husband and I went to a PTA meeting at Echo Lake the year before it took effect because we wanted to get a feel for a new community. And we walked in and we said, "Where's the PTA meeting?" And they said, "Oh, it's back here in this conference room." There were 6 people at the meeting, not counting us. That was the general PTA meeting. Things were really tough. So I came in as a vice president for fundraising. There were 3 of us, and we did some fundraising events. Echo Lake was one. See, when Gidget's group left, there wasn't anybody left to take over, and the ones that were there moved on to Meridian Park. So we did okay, but it was a really difficult time for all the PTAs in the district. But we had a lovely time at Echo Lake. My daughter was delighted to be up in that end, the hexagon thing for the 6th graders. That was so special. Yeah. So we had a good time, and then I moved on to Einstein and Shorewood and stayed involved in PTA from then till 2 years after my daughter graduated.
Okay.
So
Well, thank you,
you're
Diane. Pat, can you introduce yourself and give a short sentence or two? You need to unmute and tell us about any relationship you have to Echo Lake School.
Who did you say? Did you say Val?
No, I said Pat.
Okay, I was like, who?
Can you hear now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I wanted to add, I think Diane is still a member of the PTA, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So my kids went to Echo Lake School in the 1980s, and Gidget was our leader, very capable leader. We had and I can recall a large PTA meeting in the fall, beginning of school. My favorite thing was the Halloween carnival. It's something we still remember, the kids, and then I also had the opportunity about 7 years ago with Power of One to tutor students, 5th graders in math at Echo Lake School, and so that's kind of been my connection. And
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Val. How about if you go next?
Okay, hi, I'm Val. I have current students at Echo Lake. I have a 1st grader and a 3rd grader, and I'm involved in the PTA. Primarily, I do like the gardens at Echo Lake. I'm working on the Green Thumb Club, but also just volunteer with the PTA whenever I can and however I'm needed. And it's good to see this broader community being brought in to or welcome to the PTA. And hopefully you guys can get involved with the school however you have time for.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, Diane.
Hi, I'm Diane Lobot. Our daughter was at Echo Lake. I'm trying to think. She's in college now, so I think it might have been around 2011 or something. And she went there from 3rd to 6th grade. Well, 2nd to 6th grade. It was actually, she was there when Mr. Lohman first came. She was there 1 year before he got there, and then when he got there. And the major thing that I did when I was there, got very involved in the Festival of Cultures and did a lot of work with that and building that. And it was quite, and getting Edie involved, who was from the Duwamish tribe. She's no longer with us, but I got helped get her involved in that whole program of the Festival of Cultures. Yeah, my daughter's still in college. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jay, how about if you go next?
Yeah, I have almost no connection to Echo Lake Elementary. We have no kids. My wife was a teacher in Everett Middle Schools for quite a while, but and retired from that. But not any local attachments really.
Jay, you didn't mention Trunk or Treat. You have worked for Trunk or Treat for several years.
Yes.
How many years?
You are key to Trunk or Treat.
Well, actually, just 3 years now, I think.
Okay. Well, that is really fun. Yeah, and we're going to do it again this year, coming up here on Saturday. Okay. So, Sarah, will you introduce yourself and tell us what connection you have to Echo Lake School?
Hi, I'm Sarah Fulham. I'm Travis's wife, and we have 2 kids. Well, one went to Echo Lake, and now she's at Einstein in 6th grade. And we have a 3rd grader that's still at Echo Lake.
Okay.
And I'm also involved in the PTA.
Okay, good, thanks. And Dale, that leaves you. I think you're the last person for introductions.
All right, I'm Dale Leiden, and with 2 kids that are 7 years apart, we were at Echo Lake for 14 years straight.
Wow.
We were in the PTA all 14 years. My wife was able to be very involved, and she was the PTA president several times. She was a Golden Acorn Award winner. She was very, very involved, and of course I supported and was always involved too, but never held office. And then our kids went on to Einstein and Shorewood, where she was also involved in site councils and you name it. So we had I don't know what, over 20 years of being involved in Shoreline schools. And both of them had Mr. Lohman's mom as teachers.
Oh my goodness.
And Beth was room parent in her class both times. So
okay.
So yeah, the Lohman family is very important to us.
Oh, okay.
And,
well,
and I was just going to say, and our kids loved her, and we've always appreciated what Andrew has brought to the table as a principal.
Good. Well, great. And Dale is also our treasurer. Are you ready to give a treasurer's report?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to, once again, I always get messed up because I typically work on teams at work all day long, and I'm in meetings all day long. I had 7 meetings today. So, let me share. There we go. So you should be able to see this page, and this is a summary of the last month. I always use the last month's statement, so we're a month behind, but we're always accurate. So we had a beginning balance of $1,000, and we had expenses for domain renewal, and then contributions. This was reimbursement from the city for picnic expenses. We were very generously underwritten to the tune of $500 by one of the board members, and I'm very thankful for them. And so our ending fund balance is $1,571. Of that, I just notes that 341 of that is, we keep that as designated. This was a gift from Rob Dembowski, Councilman Dembowski from King County, for the Dwight Stevens bench. And so we're going to use that to replace landscape or something related to the bench. So actual usable ending fund balance is around $1,200.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And next on our agenda is 5-minute reports. And Michelle, are you ready? Need to unmute.
Okay, there we go. Yes, good. So let's see. Echo Lake is they've removed the toxic algae alert. Last week we had a test that was safe, and so after several weeks of being closed, it's open again. We're going to be writing a letter of support for the city's application to the next Department of Ecology grant, hopefully another 50,000 to put towards starting treatment of the lake next year to decrease both the toxic algae blooms and just the blooms in general, to keep it open and more pleasant for people and pets and wildlife. We had nice news from Sky Nursery. They have done so much work this year to come into compliance with the city's requirements that they cover their mulch piles and gravel piles because the fertilizer runs into the drain and then into the lake. They're cleaning out their drains more frequently. I think they've spent a ton of money on that. And so if anybody's shopping at Sky, they just really appreciated the thank you that we gave to them.
Okay.
The YMCA just paid to get some pretty scary noxious weeds, the knotweed, which was right near the drainage ditch into the lake. If it's not controlled and bits of it flow into the lake, it can start putting up tall, super dense stands that can keep anybody from getting in the lake. So we were really excited that they agreed to that, and we helped facilitate them finding contractors. And then in the last month or so, I noticed there, I don't know what Pat would say. Some of the neighbors have noticed that there seems to have been an uptick in problems at the park and along the trail with camping and mental illness crises and drug use and a couple of fires in the park. And one day I was taking a photo of a tent outside our house, and one of the city council members was riding his bike by, so he stopped and said, "Would you please send that to me?" So I started a conversation with them, which led to Neil Woodruff, who's the community outreach officer, coming out and walking through the park. And he mentioned that the city council did authorize a chunk of money for him to offer to his officers for overtime. They don't have enough officers. They haven't been able to hire enough to address the areas that they know are problematic, including Echo Lake area and some other areas. And so they offered this money for overtime so that we could have more patrols. But none of the officers are interested. So I think they're trying to maybe go back to council and figure out if there's some other way that they can attract officers to help with some of that.
Okay, thank you, Anne.
Sure.
And now that leaves Pat Deacon next in the Echo Lake Park meeting. You'll need to unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'm trying to be positive tonight. We had a tragic loss of the Mariners. So I want to be positive. We have several gathering places in Echo Lake neighborhood. I think of Shoreline Park with the soccer fields can draw hundreds of many nationalities there. The pickleball courts can draw 100. The senior center brings a lot for lunch, the big draw for seniors. Costco draws thousands, but I don't usually consider that a community. The most exciting location is Echo Lake School, and I've had the privilege of being in the hallways at the end of the day and seeing many young, joyful faces. The focus of my work is daily visits to Echo Lake Park and Aurora Village Transit Center. I'm seen as litter pickup, and I do that and a little more. Many people work to make Echo Lake a welcoming place. Tons of bicyclists was what Shoreline Councilman John Ramsdell described use of the interurban trail through Echo Lake Park in a recent council meeting. I usually see 5 dog walkers before 7 a.m. I see runners training. I saw 2 dads with kids in the playground this a few days ago. Our playground targets 2 to 4-year-olds, so more challenging playgrounds are at Shoreline Park, Ridgecrest, and at the newly opened Richmond Highlands Park. This week, the grounds maintenance crew weeded several planting areas and spread wood chips, including under the apple tree. The apples were picked up on at least 2 occasions this summer. I've seen cutting back of vegetation that was reaching out onto the interurban trail. The trash cans are emptied regularly and the dog poop bags are replenished when needed. I've seen the lawn mowed and the branches picked up. I've seen police on patrol in the early morning, and often they lock the restroom every night. I was very pleased that Anne mentioned, or someone in C-Click Fix mentioned drug use in the park, and that Police Captain Woodruff came out and took a tour of the park. When a professional shows that interest, it gives me hope. The park restroom is cleaned daily in the morning. In the summer, it's checked twice daily. I've seen water quality testing by the city in recent weeks and clearing of debris from the outlet flowing to Lake Ballinger. In the last year, a blinking crosswalk was installed on North 200th at Ashworth. This is the main entrance to the park. I also visit the transit center. I've seen a remarkable transformation there. King County Metro is actually actively working to make a safe, healthy, welcoming transit center. There's been 24-hour security on site for over 2 years. The security have the job of engaging with people hanging out at the transit center and perhaps hesitating to exit the bus at the end of the line. I've seen them handle issues that would have required 911 calls several years ago. The security is often stationed near the park and ride, and they are on the lookout for potential break-ins. On occasion, I see, like today, I saw King County outreach workers who also engage people traveling through the center. The maintenance department of Metro regularly hoses down platforms and cleans employee restrooms daily. These workers are some of my heroes. Their bushes have been trimmed, the beds weeded. There's been a repainting of the 2 buildings on either east and west building at the transit center. And currently Metro is removing, sandblasting, and repainting, and then returning the fences on the 2 inner islands. Metro has a marked area for Lime rental scooters and bikes, which works to corral most of their bikes. The portable toilet at the transit center is a success. The fears of a toilet presence did not happen. Buses run 24 hours, so a toilet for passengers is available 24 hours, and it's cleaned twice a day. There's a hand washing station adjacent to the portable. I saw a neighbor take this Swift bus to the light rail last week. It's express. The next stop is Shoreline North Link Station. She took it to the airport to catch a flight, and I've done this myself. I'm finished. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very thorough. Gidget, did you have a question?
I did. Number one is thank you, Pat, for your advocacy for Echo Lake. It's a unique feature in Shoreline, and we really appreciate you and also Anne watching our lake. I can't remember exactly when, but maybe a year ago, there was a discussion, a concern about a new business coming up in on Aurora that was going to, their drainage system was going to be going into Echo Lake, and there was some concern about that. Does anyone know what happened to that?
Are you talking about the Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
They had to follow the same requirements that all new construction does. So they had to, I think anybody that builds a large enough um, building, I mean, I'm sure they had to add a vault underneath to catch stormwater, and then that
Okay.
gets suctioned out. I think I read something maybe on Nextdoor, maybe somebody was worried that that was going to happen, but there was not I don't think there was any more. I think from what I've heard from, sorry, the stormwater engineers at the city is that generally because the building codes are now more strict to protect the lake than they used to be, new development is a benefit for the lake.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even though it
Anytime,
doesn't look like you wouldn't think so necessarily.
anytime the city is involved, the city has to conform to the national point discharge elimination system. And I mean, the city has an NPDES permit that they can't allow anything like that. So
Yeah.
all, especially fast food restaurants or food restaurants, all have grease traps, and all their stormwater has to be stored and detention tanks and things like that, and traps for the oil that comes off the parking lots. So, like Ann said, new development is really much better than the old developments that are sitting there because of all the new requirements. And many of the new things that go in have bioretention and biofiltration and bioremediation, so that some of that water is going through plants that filter out the oils and things too, which is much cleaner than even the old grease traps and things like that. So yeah, the city has to follow state and federal law.
Yeah. And I think Shoreline is stricter than the state and federal.
Yeah, maybe pretty difficult to be stricter than some of the federal requirements, but
yeah,
local agencies or local jurisdictions can certainly make additional laws and additional rules.
I'd like to move on and give Val 5 minutes to talk about the garden at Echo Lake School, and then we will have our key speaker, Mr. Lohman.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of update everyone that we have a Green Thumb Club that Donna Franklin started. I'm assuming many of you are familiar with her, and she's still going. I've taken over the leadership of the club, but she still comes to every one of them. So it's we have like 20 students that signed up for it this year, and we're doing it Wednesday and Thursday afternoon. So we're always looking for more volunteers. If anyone's ever free on Wednesday or Thursday from 12 to 12:35, that's when the Green Thumb Club works in the gardens, and we do all sorts of tasks, just trying to maintain them and get the kids out there interacting with nature. And then we're going to have a couple community events. Hopefully, we had to reschedule the fall work party, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll have one during winter break, and then another one in the spring where we're going to try and expand the last little section of where the new pollinator patch and kindergarten is. It's kind of over by the playground. If you're ever walking around the field, you can see it there. But we're gonna make that last corner a little sensory garden. So we'll be looking for plants throughout the community, and then see if people can get involved and help us plant that out. So be on the lookout for that in the spring. And then let me know if anyone has any leads on getting volunteers, because we would love to have more regular volunteers for the work party or the Green Thumb Club as well.
Okay, well, thanks to all of you who are working to make Echo Lake neighborhood a better place. It's fabulous how much energy goes into it. Well, Mr. Lohman, you're our main speaker for tonight. Welcome.
Welcome
to our Echo Lake principal.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia, and to everybody for giving me this opportunity. Claudia and I talked about this last spring of all times, and she got it on my calendar probably in May or June. And so it's always great. When I first started at Echo Lake and well before COVID, you guys were meeting in the city hall, I think. And so I met many of you there and had an opportunity to talk a little bit about Echo Lake. And so now we're many years later, and we've got new technology and Zoom and all the good things. So I'm excited. Claudia and other people have shared a few things with me, and I had a few minutes and I put together a slideshow. So I'm going to just share some slides and see if this works out.
Okay.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Beautiful.
Okay, I think it's nice. I know that all of you live in the neighborhood, but many of you probably haven't been at the school recently. And so let's see. Okay, perfect. That's okay. So this is Echo Lake. This is our staff this year. Every year we take a photo in one of our August days and try to get as many people in to that. That's a mural of We Are Echo Lake, which is one of our our chants that we do sometimes at assemblies, and that was painted on about 7 or 8 years ago. And so that's a great spot in our undercover play area. If you haven't been to Echo Lake recently, the field was redone, I think, in 2021. So it's a beautiful turf field, lots of soccer, lots of fun. Kids love it. Giving you kind of a flavor for things. This is one of our, we are the Echo Lake Eagles. And I think we've been the Eagles for a long time now. So if you had kids there, they might have been Eagles as well. And one of our or actually current parents, but former PTA presidents started this. This is kind of a chalk drawing, but it's a permanent chalk or spray paint, I guess. And then we are kind of 4 or 5 areas are kindness, leadership, growth, collaboration, and empathy. And so those are some of the goals and the focus areas of Echo Lake. I'm glad that Val is here. It was good to hear about this, because this is really part of her amazing work that she has done. She took over with Donna Franklin on Native Plant Garden, which is on the other side. I have a picture of that. And this is a garden that she helped build with the community members and our kindergarten teams. And really, it's inspiring to see kids go in there. I know one of our kindergarten teachers was talking about planting something more recently, just a couple of days ago. And so it gives kids an opportunity to dig in the dirt and see things grow. I think that they, Val, correct me if I'm wrong, last spring, didn't they get to eat something from the garden?
Yeah, we've planted like some carrots and then snap peas. So they were able, if anytime they saw a snap pea that was ripe, they could just go out. And well, the teacher we always have to make sure an adult is with them before they can eat anything. But yeah, they're able to kind of sample foods that they helped plant.
Yeah. So I think it's a really fantastic opportunity. So I'll put another plug in for Val and the Green Thumb Club. This is the Native Plant Garden that before Donna Franklin took over, probably now 20 years ago. This was just a bed of ivy and some overgrown trees. And this is, it's been the subject of a couple Boy Scout, Eagle Scout projects more recently, where they reinforced some of the trails and added a new sign. But it's becoming more of a mature landscape now, which is really, really cool. And it's If you've never been to Echo Lake, this is centered between two wings, and so kids look out on this all day and get to see birds and everything as seasons go. This is our library. We have I really like our library. It's a big vaulted ceiling. We talk a lot about books. You can kind of see it in there, but books are windows and mirrors, and so our librarian does a really great job bringing in diverse texts so that it reflects our diverse population. And then what's better than some kid art? And these are just kid art in the hallways from different grade levels. This is a kindergarten project and some other art. I think this is kindergarten as well. And then this year, we have a theme of soaring to success. And so one of our teachers made this model, and it's just something that we're really promoting as our goal to help students become the best students they can be and to help them soar and to be a part of that. I think those are the pictures. And then, oh, I've got a couple more, I guess. At Echo Lake, we have a vision statement, and that vision is Echo Lake is a vibrant, diverse, and engaged community that inspires shared leadership, character, and kindness. We promote collaborative learning focused on growth and are committed to success for all students. And then we saw those key character traits earlier: kindness, leadership, growth, collaboration, and empathy. And that's something that centers the work that we do with students. I'll talk about our dean and our counselor a little bit later, but they promote, we have Eagle Pride cards, we have an Eagle Pride video, on a Friday video, and students can get recognized for being kind or being leaders or showing empathy and different things like that. Echo Lake, so then I'm going to go into a little bit of data about Echo Lake because that was one of the asks, is just kind of Echo Lake has changed a lot, even in the 11 years that I've been at Echo Lake, and certainly longer if you had kids that went here. Our current enrollment this year is 460 students, and all the elementary schools in Shoreline are now kindergarten through 5th grade. We transitioned to a 6, 7, 8 model in 2020, I think, or 2021. Echo Lake's also home to the ILS, or Intensive Learning Support self-contained classrooms, and we have 3 of those classrooms this year. They're multi-grade classrooms. We have 160 kindergarten through 1st grade students, and that's something that I just wanted to note because of our 460 students, a bunch of our kids are our youngest kids. And so I imagine that many of you are up to date on last year's school closures and consideration and things like that. And so at Echo Lake, at least, we continue to see large cohorts of younger students moving up through the pipeline. And then also unique to Echo Lake within the Shoreline School District, we have 22 different languages that are spoken by families that are represented at Echo Lake. This gives us a little bit of the details are a little bit harder, but this is pulled OSPI, which is the public instruction organization that supports the Washington State, has it's called a report card of all things. And so there's always information on schools there, but this highlights our race and ethnicity. 2 of the key things are Spanish speaking students are the 2nd biggest population at Echo Lake, around 25%. And then English language learners, also known as ESL in the former days, and MLL, those students are more than 25% of our students. So more than 25% of Echo Lake students are learning English as a 2nd or 3rd language. And then just has some other things. Oops, went too fast. This is a breakdown of the number of students' home languages. So you can see there that Spanish is our 2nd biggest language, and then Amharic is our 3rd biggest language. So that Amharic is an East African language, Ethiopia, Eritrea. When I first started at Echo Lake, Spanish was the biggest language, 2nd biggest language, and then Korean was the 3rd biggest language. And at the time, we had a lot of Korean families that had parents that were working with the UW or attending the UW. And that we saw a really significant shift from that during COVID. And then after COVID, it's never come back. Other information that there were questions about, we have a dean and a counselor at Echo Lake, and we've had a dean and a counselor. First, we had a counselor, and then we added the dean for, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years at least. The counselor's focus at Echo Lake Claudia works with her and has volunteered with her in the past, is to support social emotional learning. She provides lessons for students. She provides actual counseling for students that may or may need it. She provides support for parents. Her name is Miss Farkas, and she's excellent. And then our dean, his name is Andy Coulthard, and the deans came around a little bit after the counselors. And the dean's role is really about school, the school environment, school safety. He leads up our emergency response teams for all of our emergency drills. Is our primary lead on supporting our lunch programs and our recess programs, and really again around school environment and kind of somebody that does it all. And so that's the dean. Other things that are happening, Echo Lake for the last couple of years has been receiving any student that attends Echo Lake has had free breakfast or lunch. There's a couple of years ago, there was a Washington state program for any schools that have 30% or higher free and reduced populations. They can qualify for free breakfast and lunch. And that's been really amazing to see. We have, I would say 2/3 of our students probably eat lunch at school or get lunch from the school. And that's significantly different in other schools in the Shoreline. At Echo Lake, we have a MLL program. I mentioned that earlier. That's the multilingual learners. So students that are learning English as a second or third language. Somebody had asked about how do we support students that are MLL students. We have a variety of different ways that we support them. The students kind of get an assessment when they come to the school, and we kind of learn, are they just a brand new English language learner? Did they learn English in their home country? And so they have a skill set, and kind of try to figure out the variation. And then we have 2 MLL teachers that support our programs and our students, or over 100 students. And then really with the advent of technology, we have some really great translation services. If a parent were to come to Echo Lake and say that they wanted to register, we can get, it's called, the program is called Lingolet. It's something that the district pays for. We can get a person, it's on like a Zoom, and they Zoom in, and we can get most languages within a couple minutes. So you have a live person doing live translation just via an iPad. We can also do phone services. So sometimes if I'm talking with a student or a parent, I can just use my office phone number and call the number and get a live translator and put them on speaker. And so really amazing. And then lots of our teachers actually use tools that are accessible to everybody else, like Google, and if you have an iPhone, the different translation services that are now digital. And so that's been profoundly supportive of our work to help us be able to communicate better with our students, and then also for students to be able to communicate with us. And then Echo Lake is also a title school. Title is a federal funding, and then LAP is state funding. And so that our primary focus is on literacy, early literacy intervention supports and interventions. And so we've every year we go through kind of a review of that, and we're doing a lot of work with trying to adopt some new curriculum that better meets the needs of students and kind of the skill deficit areas that we're seeing. And somebody had asked about title funds and funding from the government, and we haven't seen yet any cuts to the title program at Echo Lake. And opportunities to be involved. I'll just always put a little plug in for our Echo Lake PTA. You can join the Echo Lake PTA, which is always a great thing and showing your support, or you could just have this access to this website for more information. It's our fall fundraiser, and so all of the funds that go towards the PTA have to get split with the school to support assemblies and enrichment, like field trips and things like that. So if you were interested in doing that, and then volunteering, Val put a plug in for the Green Thumb Club, but also our library and our classrooms are interested in. And a really great program that I know that Claudia is a part of is the Power of One volunteer program. And that's an organization that supports connecting generally retired individuals with school systems, and we can get them set up for and sometimes they do small group work, sometimes they do reading with students, and it's really fantastic. And so if you were ever interested, you could send me an email, or Claudia, I know, knows the coordinator for Power of One. And so also a really great program. And then I think that's it for me that I had brought or pre-planned, but I'm happy to take questions and share more.
Anybody have questions for Mr. Lohman? You were really thorough in your presentation, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was very helpful that you and others sent me some ideas to talk about.
Good. And I'm very happy to hear that federal funding cuts have not affected Echo Lake School. And so I was particularly concerned about the free lunch programs. And so I'm delighted that that's continuing. So thanks, Mr. Lohman. Unless anyone has additional questions.
Oh, I see some former Echo Lake parents that have a question there, Diane and Sid.
Okay.
Oop,
It's on.
oh, okay, sorry. Hi, Mr. Lohman.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. I guess before I forget, I do want to tell you that we still remember the years at Echo Lake as the best years for our daughter in the Shoreline school system, Shoreline School
Thank you.
District, and those days of the what was that? The multicultural.
The Festival of Cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I came in late, so I apologize if this was already covered. But I recall that Echo Lake was kind of potentially being a candidate for closure a year or two ago. And
Yeah,
does that mean that we're safe for a while, or?
yeah, I can. Yeah, so actually, it was last year. Last year, Echo Lake and a number of schools last year the district went through a process where they were considering closing a school due to budgetary concerns and concerns that overall enrollment was dropping to the point that it wasn't sustainable to have a school, so many schools not efficiently filled. And Echo Lake made it to the top 3 or the bottom 3, depending on how you want to look at it, of schools under consideration. And then through the process, Echo Lake was actually removed from that list. And then one school was finally considered, and then the district decided that they didn't feel comfortable enough closing a school. The whole time that they had gone through the process, they had stated that they didn't want to close a school if they thought that within 5 years they might have to reopen a school, which is, it's not an ideal situation for school communities to have a school closed, and certainly then not ideal to have to reopen a school a couple of years later because of the challenges and everything that you can imagine that would be associated with that. And so at this point, the district is not considering closing a school. And so I'm not aware of any other kind of decisions around that. It feels like if they were to consider that in the future, there would probably be a new process. And I would imagine that Echo Lake would continue to probably not be selected for all the reasons that was decided upon last year.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for all your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so very much, Mr. Lohman. Now we have 2 people who have not introduced themselves, and I would like to ask you, Dana, to go ahead and introduce yourself. You'll need to unmute.
Did.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm just sitting here I was interested in the school principal because I've never been into Echo Lake School, but I'm an ex-teacher, former teacher, and I taught middle school and junior high, but I know how important the elementary schools are. That's when the kid learns to read and do basic math.
Right. Okay, thanks, Dana. And Jack Malik.
Hello. Thanks very much. Thanks, Mr. Lohman. Really great to hear from you. Yeah, I'm
Any connection to Echo Lake School? That's our topic for tonight.
I don't. I
Okay.
own a rental property in the neighborhood, and I
Okay.
actually have grown to like it a lot. The more I
Okay.
work on that house, the more I like the area.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mr. Lomana. And Travis is going to give us a little update on what's happening with the PTA.
Yeah, well, thank you. Hard to follow Mr. Lumen there. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's everyone loves you, which is great.
It's true.
So definitely, thank you to the Echo Lake Neighborhood Association for having me. I also see some PTA members as well joining, which is great. Just, I guess, a little bit about the PTA, and it sounds like a lot of you were part of it back in the day, which is wonderful. So you pretty much know a lot of what we do here. But this is actually my first year as co-president, first year on the board. And I'm really happy to be supporting, the kids and the staff at school. But just a little something about what we do. We support the Echo Lake community, staff, students, and families. We provide resources, both human and financial, to strengthen connections and enrich education. Some of the ways that we do that through the PTA, we provide teacher grants for classrooms, for equipment and supplies. We help with books for the library. We have a book vending machine that we help supply as well. We coordinate with the Works and our family advocate to help meet the needs of the community. So for clothing, food, stuff like that. And so the PTA helps support that. We will help support kind of field trips and activities to reduce and cover costs for families. Enrichment grants for like guest speakers or authors. We also host community events like our trunk or treat, which is coming up on Saturday. And thank you for the association here for sponsoring a trunk in our trunk or treat, which has been wonderful. So we're very excited for it. Again, coming up on Saturday. We also host STEM night, art night for the community, for our kids. We also, and I think someone mentioned the Golden Acorn, an Outstanding Educator Award that the PTA obviously is involved with, and awards to an outstanding educator. Obviously, too, we try and show our support and appreciation for our dedicated teachers and staff as well. We supply them with some goodies throughout the year, which is wonderful to just show some support and say thank you. And then, of course, we partner with the school to find really, fun, creative ways to support, the kids' learning and the community. So that's kind of what we're all about right now. We, like Mr. Lohman said, we are starting our big fundraiser, our fall fundraiser. And the way that we do that, is the reason why we do it are kind of all the things that I listed. And so, without the support of everyone in the community and the school, we aren't able to kind of do some of those things. And so this is our big fundraiser that we have. And so obviously I'll make a plug for that. I can drop the link in our chat. And also, we have other people who are not a parent or staff that are also part of the PTA. So just know that you don't have to have a school or a child in school to be able to help out and become a member. So really your membership is support. And so we really appreciate all that you do in assisting. Another thing too, I think Mr. Lohman talked about volunteering. Everyone is really, desperate, I think, for volunteers to help out. But, really, we know that at the, heart of our, community are the kids, right? We all started out somewhere here, right? And so I would definitely, make a plug to, if you have the time to help in the library or, outside or anything, and you're looking to help support the school and our kids, definitely consider doing that. And we can get you some more information on how you can go about doing that. But really just want to thank everyone for the support. And I'm glad that we're having a nice collaboration between the school, the PTA, and the neighborhood association here. So.
Will you tell us a little more about your fall fundraiser?
Yeah, the link is in the chat here, but the fall fundraiser, our goal is 15,500. And so it's quite a good stretch goal for us. But really there's in our link, basically it's just a straight donation that we're just asking for, and any amount that you can donate, no donation is too small or too large. Either, I would say. But again, that's kind of really why we want to just let people know what that money goes towards, right? It's not just here, we're going to give this money and it goes to wherever, right? We want to share with people what the PTA does and where that money goes. And that's really important to know, that the money is going to really support kids and doing these special things for them. So, but yeah, it's through a program. When you click the link, it'll go directly to a website called Givebacks, and then you can choose to donate through that if you want. If you can also consider donating by check as well. If you do that, that can actually make your donation go a little bit farther, since there is like a little exchange fee that Givebacks takes if you do your card, which is perfectly fine. But you can always mail that check or drop it off at the school. If that's something, you just make it out to Echo Lake PTA.
Okay, and I know you've also had fundraisers like through Saddam Chicken. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we recently had our Sodom Chicken, their restaurant. I don't know if anyone's had a Korean fried chicken, but it's very delicious. And they were kind enough to donate 20% of the proceeds on a specific date that we had to the PTA. We don't have the final numbers yet, but we will certainly share those with everyone as soon as we get that back. So we're really fortunate that a lot of businesses will help support us through different fundraisers, and we're hoping to have some other businesses help support us too in doing something similar throughout the year.
Good. Well, I think it's going to be a good one. There were a lot of people there when we were there. So thank you for all of your work, Travis. And the other thing I have to tell you, Travis does the best meetings. They are quick, efficient. Man, he gets people going. So if you are ever inclined to attend a fun PTA meeting, Travis is your guy. Okay, so thank you for all your work, Travis. And Mr. Lohman, I just wonder if there are any questions further for either Travis or Mr. Lohman while they're still here. Well, it looks like we are going to have a quick and efficient meeting. There's no need to keep going. I would like to end with an elementary level joke, and that is, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. That's why. Okay. Any of you who would like to stay, our meeting recording will end, but everyone is free to stay and visit. So
One more thing. We do
what's
have
that, Jay?
we do have the option for public comment while we're still recording.
Okay,
If anyone wants to make a public comment, and then after that we can do stuff off the record.
thank you. This is my first time doing this, so thanks, Jay.
Well, we haven't been very careful about doing this in
Okay,
the past either. So anyone have anything to put in on the record? And if not, then we can.
Diane, looks like you're ready.
I just wanted to say, Claudia, I don't know if this is public comment, but Claudia led a pretty good meeting too. That's what I think.
Well, thank you. Okay.
All right.
With a little help from my friends.
Okay, without any further ado, we should close the meeting and allow people to stay around for comment and chat afterwards.
Okay.
We'll stop the recording.
Okay.